close that time.
One of these days, you're going to make contact. I'm going to get a nosebleed. I'm going to have to get up and walk out. And the show's going to be on you. And it's going to be one of the most complicated topics ever.
Oh, well, I'll just switch the topic and we can do the next one next week.
Nice.
I'll get my half hour of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a cruddy half hour.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh-oh, look at that. We got people up. Hello, everyone. I'm Judge James.
I'm Judge Evie.
Tonight, we have special guests Nene and Pop-Pop are on.
Hello.
My mom and dad, Jim and Linda Walls, are here with us. Look at that. We've got guests.
We're supposed to clap. Like on the reality TV shows.
After weeks of not seeing anyone, these are the first humans in our home since like the middle of March, I think. After we've all self-quarantined for like 2 weeks, right?
Longer than
Pretty
2
much.
weeks.
Oh yeah.
So it's been crazy. Look at that. We got some Hello Humans coming out. I guess that's Bab, right?
That's bad.
All right. Well, look, we're all here. I thought it'd be a fun show tonight to pull, since they were in the house for Memorial Day dinner, to do a Q&A, a full interview of my parents and how it regards to gaming. Especially tabletop role-playing, because whether they know or not, the whole reason I have all this stuff essentially has to do with the fact that they were so supportive of my hobby when I was growing up, even if they didn't really play anything. So, that much. All right, so to start things off, let's discuss our week in gaming this week, in which we continued our X-Crawl campaign on Tuesday with Dungeon Battle San Angeles.
I could do my rap again if you guys want to hear that.
No, we don't need to hear the rap again. They can watch last week for the rap. Why, is the rap here somewhere?
I don't know.
Let's not watch the rap again. No rapping. No rapping. But for Dungeon Battle San Angeles, which is based on the movie Demolition Man, I took People of the Pit, an adventure by Joe Goodman for DCC, and converted it into X-Crawl. Yeah, I see what Bab is saying.
The people are speaking.
No, one person is speaking.
The people.
It's not the people. It's a
the
people.
Bab is the voice of the people.
The other news of gaming this week is my Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign yesterday made it to the Master Path, level 7, and we're discussing what to do next, and I gotta figure out something lighthearted and more gonzo that's sci-fi. What do you think?
What? Huh?
All right, there we go. On that note, let's talk to Judge Eve about her week. How was your week in gaming?
Well, we did X-Crawl. Oh my gosh, guys. So I binge watched this show last night.
Oh no.
And I told myself I wouldn't get on the bandwagon. Well, first I finished season 4 of Riverdale, like I rewatched it. And then I watched Outer Banks, and oh my gosh. You guys should go watch it. Yeah. Oh, also watch The Marriage Story. It's really sad, but
Enough Marriage Story.
No,
Enough
Adam's
Marriage
in it.
Story.
Adam's in it. So
all right,
it's
let's move over to Judge Evie Presides, okay? Which this week isn't a question for you, but a comment from Greg Phillips to me about my Thursday night show when we talked about Purple Planet. And I was just asking what was going on. Well, I was discussing what's happening with Purple Planet campaign setting, and he had notes from a video from the Harley Stroh's CyclopsCon Ask Me Anything, and said that Brendan and Harley discussed Peril of the Purple Planet revision and what can be included in the Kickstarter reprint at timestamp 44 to 48 minutes, and list the following points. Joe Goodman asked for the content Bible of things Harley wanted to add in, so he outlined a full reprint, including all the separate adventures, a sequel adventure, Warlords of the Purple Planet, which I'm guessing is based on the board game, and that time passes differently, so a few-year campaign time, the players are drawn back to the Purple Planet, and 500 years have passed. Kind of like Ultima. So that'd be kind of cool. And yeah, this is pretty sweet. I'm really hoping that that's that comes out sooner than later. I would like to see that. So, and he said he wrapped up with, hope this rounds out the review on Thursday. I didn't read everything, but lots of love, DCC love from the UK, other Greg Phillips, UK DCC Road Crew. Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate that feedback. So with that, let's...
Can I address some of the comments first?
Yeah.
Okay. Outer Banks is not the same as Riverdale. Outer Banks is like nothing like Riverdale.
That's what you're going to address?
The Marriage Story is not a bad movie. It's not so bad. You can justify that. It is a good movie.
This is a gaming podcast.
It is a good movie.
Podcast,
it is a good movie, right?
Okay.
Just say it's a good movie.
Okay.
Just say yes.
There's no tabletop version of the Marriage Story.
Well, we can make one. Just
no one wants to role play a divorce. Like, no one wants to do that. No one wants to role play a divorce. Like, no one wants to go through that whole experience to begin with. That's like saying, why don't you role play, having your home foreclosed on.
What's that mean?
It's something else you don't want to role play.
Okay, continue on. My stuff was getting trashed. I had to say something.
Why don't you role play getting hepatitis or something? This is just,
terrible.
I'm just saying, like, at this point, like you're saying, yeah, divorce is terrible.
Well, that's not what I was
anyway,
saying.
let's interview my parents.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, they're not my parents.
No, they're my parents.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we thought we would throw my parents on the spot here, and we're going to ask them questions and see how much. Is it a dog? The dog down here? Is that your stomach growling? Someone's stomach is growling. We're going to interview my parents and see how much they remember about like gaming and all that stuff. And this will probably be the same hot mess that it was last time my dad role played, and the whole family's decided he cannot be at a gaming table again.
That is very true.
So like it's a everyone here knows.
Someone,
What's up, Shannon? All right, so here we go. If anyone has some questions for my parents while we're talking here, feel free to ask them, and we'll ask them. Okay. All right, so here we go. Do either of you remember what year it was when I started playing role-playing games?
Oh, you were young.
How young?
Oh, I'm guessing 8.
8? You think it was 8 years old? Dad, what do you think? That would have been 1987.
I'd say 10 years old.
10 years. You're both wrong.
What? Of course we are.
I was 12.
Okay.
It was the summer of 1991. And I know for 2 reasons. The first reason is that it was one of the summers we went down to Wildwood, New Jersey.
Okay.
Because you guys went and did some dinner and left all of us kids home, and we just played Dungeons and Dragons with like Andy and Steven.
Okay.
And the second reason was that everyone's character that game was based on Robin Hood, because you took us all to see Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I remember that.
And Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was like
I
the most
know.
inspirational movie of all time, especially
Oh.
Kevin Costner. So you didn't remember that, huh?
No, sorry.
Do you remember the first role-playing books that you bought me for D&D?
Dad would have bought them.
No, he didn't.
I bought them?
You bought them. Do you
Really?
remember buying them?
No. I don't remember. Were we in the bookstore and
So-
you wanted to buy these books in the bookstore?
Interestingly enough, I have one of the
Wow.
first books. This is the first book, one of 2 first books that I had. This is an AD&D 2nd edition Dungeon Master's Guide. People today stop moving things around.
No one tells me that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. You
Just hold
say
it steady.
I'm modeling.
Just hold it steady.
Fine, I'll hold it
But
steady.
people can't. All right.
No.
Anyway, Mr. Jimothy, you really beat up that book. This book here, this is from
The
1991.
whole cover's off on the side.
Well, I want you to. So, where do you think we got this book at?
Atlantic books?
Mom, you took me here to get it.
Atlantic books?
Look at the cover.
I thought it was Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
I got that right, and I wasn't even alive.
$8.90. This is a hardback book.
That's a
The
hardback.
sticker price is $18.
Wow, it was on sale.
$18.
Wow.
It was on
On
sale for
sale.
$13.99.
Yeah.
Dropped to $8.90.
On a clearance
I got
rack.
that right, and I wasn't even.
You got it
alive.
right because you saw it in the
Clearance
corner.
No, because you always talked about how you got stuff at Toys R Us. You're like, oh my god, Toys R
I
Us
can't keep
closed.
things in peak condition. This book is like 30 years old, isn't
No,
it?
because you were sad because
Closed.
it closed. Because that was your first stuff. Not because
All
I
right.
looked at the
Now,
typing.
in other news,
But I gotta model some.
that
more
book
stuff.
would have gone with an AD&D Players Handbook. But
Uh-oh.
interestingly enough, this is not the original Player's Handbook that I had.
No.
Now, to play AD&D, you
Hey,
need
this
to
one's
have
on
a
the
Player's
side.
Handbook and a Dungeon Master's Guide. Mom, do you remember what happened to my Player's Handbook?
Yeah, I do.
What happened to it?
It accidentally got thrown out.
But how did it get thrown away? You have to speak up.
Why did it accidentally get thrown away?
Yes.
Because I asked you guys to pick your things up off the floor, or I would put them in a trash bag. And you didn't pick them up off the floor.
So you threw my Player's Handbook
No,
away.
I put them in a trash bag and put them in the back room. And Dad was doing me a favor and took the trash out, looked in the back room, and threw out the games and the toys that were in it.
You know, what's interesting enough is that, like, before...
Wasn't his fault.
That may be, but interestingly enough, there was, like, much... First off, there was a lot of commentary that you couldn't have thrown them away for a while. Like, you didn't fess up to it for a bit. And then
I love that you remember.
And then when you did fess up to it, you wouldn't buy me a new one.
No, because you didn't pick it up. Why
and we're talking like for like a year, I played Dungeons and Dragons without a player's hand. I had to borrow them from people, and it was a shame. So
they didn't have any more on the $8.99 rack.
No.
This was I had to get this one a few years later, and this was they had at this point they had raised the prices of these books, and it was $20 for one of these books.
We're getting some
questions.
I'm sure.
My friend Shannon says, "Wow, your mom is hardcore."
Hard, I know. Yes.
Wait, what is bad?
So, do you remember? What was that?
Short people have to be hardcore.
I-
You were taller than I was.
That doesn't mean you throw my books away.
Well, no, it means that it's harder.
Was
to
I
put my
taller
foot
than you
down.
at
I think you were
at 12 years old?
Yes, you were.
Was I?
It wasn't that hard.
That's true. You're like a dwarf.
No, I'm not a dwarf.
No, I mean, you play your character class as a dwarf.
Stop.
Do you know what your first character was?
No.
It was a dwarf.
Oh, thank you.
That's why I said it.
Oh, I'm sure you would remember.
All right. Anyway, all right. Do you remember the first book that I bought with allowance money?
Would it be the Thieves?
There's a hint. There's a hint on the table here.
Oh, it's the Elves book?
No, the first book with allowance money I bought was this player's handbook. So I couldn't play the game without this book.
I saw it on the table.
That was a joke. This is the second I bought. This was lawnmower money. I bought the complete book of elves.
And who gave you how did you earn the lawnmower money?
By slowly mowing the lawn over 3 days.
Yes. Because how slow could you mow that lawn?
I needed a lot of breaks to mow the lawn. I need a lot of breaks.
Snail mowing the
All right.
lawn.
All right. So next question. Do you remember? Let's see here. What role playing games have you both played? Do you know?
No. I don't remember.
No, you don't remember any of them?
I don't remember.
Dad, do you remember what you played?
You've played.
Dad's played 2 role playing games.
Do you remember them?
He's played 3 total sessions of 2 role playing games.
I can't recall what they were.
You drew our heads in whiskey bottles the entire time.
So, my mom has played 3 role-playing games, and my dad has played 2 role-playing games. My mom probably has about 6 or 7 sessions under her belt. Mm-hmm. My dad has I think 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. So, my mom has played AD&D Dragonlance when we were kids, and she played a dwarf thief, and I think. And then my mom and dad both played AD&D, and they played dragons, a pair of dragons, Bima and Bromi, the crystal dragons, during our Council of Worms game on Thanksgiving 2014.
I remember.
And then Mom and Dad, you both played Basic Fantasy RPG that summer before that. And then Mom, you played Poppins in Numenera at Disney World, the strong-willed Nana who controls Nana, not Nana. The strong-willed Nana. Nana who controls gravity. Now, so interestingly enough, you both played dragons in our Council of Worms game, and that summer there was this very sweet comment my dad made about like how they really enjoyed playing Basic Fantasy with us, and we had a good time. And I gave my dad some dice, and he thought we'd play online or something like that. So I put this big game for Thanksgiving together. And then, like, how did that game go? Do you remember Evie and my dad playing?
The one where he was drawing the entire time, and it was to that one?
That one, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Most disruptive player of all time. So as I was running the game, my dad was drawing pictures of killing off your characters.
I remember the pictures, yes.
Like Cooper's character, his head cut off.
Oh.
Yeah, he drew our characters in whiskey bottles.
In whiskey bottles?
Yeah, he drew our
Why?
No, he drew pictures of our characters' heads severed off in whiskey bottles.
All right, so Dad, what was your when in that role playing experience? What was your motivation to disrupt the game that way?
I was trying to enhance the game. I was adding a creative line to the plot.
It was one of those sequences where my dad was in the far end of the table, and you have that player that exists on the far end of the table that thinks they can't be seen. well, he could be seen. You
It's
know?
like the see-through table.
And since I blogged all of this, I have the pictures to prove it.
Oh,
Plus
no.
the picture of my mom with her head in her hands because she couldn't roll above like a 3 on a 20-sided die.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was awful.
Okay. All right, we have some serious questions now.
We have comments first.
Read the comments.
Okay, we're gonna go back the whole way.
Not the whole way.
The
Just
one
go back.
This is where
That's
we
fine.
started.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Mr. Jimothy, can I throw your books away because you're taller than me?
No.
Okay. I thought my kids were hardcore in their laziness. Your mom is a saint.
Thank you.
That was from Shannon. And then Rob, Rast Corgan is Rob. He says,
Where?
He says where?
I don't look like Nene.
I can't believe how much Evie looks like Grandma. Wow.
So there you go.
We don't look alike.
That's
don't
not
think
Grandma,
so.
that's Nene. Grandma is the other grandparent.
Wait, no, there's no, what?
You don't think we look alike?
Wait, I need to like,
Okay.
No, me, you, and your Nene look alike. Sorry.
all my friends don't think I look like you. I'm like, what?
All right, serious questions.
It's so weird.
What did you two think about me playing role-playing games? Because it essentially is the hobby that took over my entire existence.
It did. It still does.
I thought it was. I've always thought it was great. I thought it was very creative. I thought your ideas were very original, and the thoughts and the enthusiasm you've had for it, and even as an adult, it's been a great distraction when you've had things going on at work. So I think it's a terrific thing. It adds balance.
Mom.
Well, I mean, there were times. Well, if you remember what all the scuttlebutt was when you were younger about Dungeons and Dragons, there were concerns.
You mean the Satanic
All
Panic?
of that stuff.
It was called
you
the
know.
Satanic Panic.
I remember,
What
and
was
so there
that?
were concerns. People would say stuff, but I always thought that it had good education qualities. It enhanced your reading. You read more. You worked out with math more. It improved your social skills. I'm sorry, I trained as a teacher, so I looked at all that stuff. But I knew where you would be with your friends. You would either be at their house, or most of the time they were at my house. And I always knew where you were.
That's a good link to the next question. Were you ever bothered by having a house full of nerds?
No.
Never.
Never. Even when you ate every single thing in my refrigerator.
There wasn't anything in the refrigerator.
Then you went, but then you took the dollar bills, you all got dollar bills together, walked to the dollar store, got $1 soda, $1 cans of
dollar Top Pop.
raviolis, and then you messed up my kitchen and I found dishes and plates and open cans and bottles everywhere and glasses and cups. No. And then when my mom came to live with us and then she cooked for you guys.
No, that was the best.
Yes, she cooked for you guys, but your grandmother's like you. She used every pot in the house to cook for you.
My grandmother essentially catered an entire Planescape campaign.
That's right.
Because we'd be playing and then food would appear.
That's right.
And then we'd have food.
But who washed all those food dishes? I didn't come home and find a clean kitchen. You guys
we didn't do
that. No.
Did you? What about the fact that gaming almost burned down your kitchen?
What you mean when Tom? I don't know.
When me and Tom were trying to make role-playing scrolls and took computer paper and tried to age them with matches.
I didn't find out about that for a long time.
Like 20 years.
I know. So I would have gone to my grave happy if you never told me.
So that again leads into the next question: were we good kids?
Yes. You were good.
Absolutely.
Are you
sure?
sure?
Very good kids. Except for the kids that you brought into my house who jumped on my sofa and broke it, and then he got kicked out forever. You were great kids.
She's mixing up two kids that don't look anything alike. Because
Well,
she's mixing Bill Mervyn and Joe Cohen.
No, but you notice Joe Cohen never got kicked out forever.
No.
He was allowed
Why'd
to
the
come
other
back.
guy get kicked out?
Because he wouldn't stop jumping on our couch.
He wouldn't stop. If you get called out and you stop, that's one thing. But if you get called out and you do it again, I'm sorry, you're done.
Hey, he was lucky he didn't get in the trash bag.
Yeah, that's right. Because as long as you're related by blood, you might get a chance to stay. But if you're not, then you're done. You're gone. But no, I never mind having kids in my house. I never minded having the mess in my house. I never minded that you guys stayed up and talked about nothing but this. I never minded. I always liked you guys being home. I liked your friends. I missed them when they were gone. And you grew up and went to college.
And Bab says, Mr. Jimothy, you traumatized the poor woman.
No.
All right, so we have some. So I thought I'd share some fun stories my parents may not remember. So I have some of. There's nothing bad here.
Okay.
There's nothing bad here. So I have 2 books that I got for Christmas from my mom and dad once. So my mom, I'm not sure which of you bought these.
Dad probably bought.
But these were under the Christmas tree one year from Santa.
Is this the Dark Harder game?
And actually, so
Dad bought all the fun stuff.
my dad, I guess then, got me this AD&D Glory of Rome source book, which you can put that down now.
But I modeled.
But I'm talking about this book. We don't care about that book right now.
Oh, then let me model that book.
So this is the book that, even though I had seen like Spartacus 1 or 2 times, this is the book that got me totally into Roman history for
You were
years.
really big in the room.
But that's because of this book. So one of those surprising things that, what was the price on this book? This was a $18, much like the Players Handbook that I had to replace myself. Yes, it is. Right there.
I found the price guide.
So this is the book that got me all interested in Roman history for years. This book.
Yeah.
I actually tried using it as a source book, as a source material for an AP history assignment. Mr. Witkoski didn't take it seriously. He didn't like that one.
I was told to hold still.
You were told to hold still. Are there any parting comments from Nini and Pop-Up before we wrap up? Parting comments?
Better, guys?
It was. Thank you for having us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you for saying nice things too.
So my dad asked a question. I'm gonna get my dad's question before we start. My dad asked before we start, are there any of the PC games helpful for you guys, for us guys? Because the one thing every year for Christmas in the Walls house is a bit different than other kids. We were PC gamers in our home, not Nintendo gamers that much. You know, despite the fact that I asked for a Super Nintendo each year and I didn't get one. You know, so I have a lot of Super Nintendo stuff after that. But we were PC gamers, and the PC games were by far a lot better. It's just like the fad was the Super Nintendo games. But the problem with PC games was back in the 90s, I mean, they weren't easy to start up, right? How many years did it take you to get Ultima 7 running?
To get all those games to run, I have to go back and mess with the programming and have to change the hardware out. Learn to put PCs together by myself from scratch and program them by myself from scratch. So I learned a lot trying to make it machines to run the latest, greatest games at the time. This is like 1991, 92,
93, yeah. They really didn't start, they never really ran out of the box. And I remember we'd have a stack of games on Christmas morning, but we knew that took hours, you know, to get started. And what would happen is usually there would be one game that would get loaded before our mom would take us to church. And then we'd come back from church with these dreams of having like 5 or 6 games loaded. And we come home and there'd be halfway through a second game getting loaded because they would need some like a boot disk or something was needed to be created. So you had to like reprogram the machine for every game.
Yeah.
What the heck is a boot disk?
Well, back in the old days, you'd have to, some games need to have a different settings, and you'd have to put a disc, a 3.5-inch floppy disk, which wasn't floppy, it was like a hard plastic shell, into your computer and start the game up with that, and turn the computer back on with it in there.
Or a 5-inch disc.
Man, 5 1/4 was the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back in the old days.
So back to his question, were any of the games helpful for us guys? And actually, there are 2 games out there that I would say were pivotal to my career choices. And one of them was not a PC game, but was a Nintendo game, which is my favorite Nintendo game of all time, which we're going to see if my dad or mom remember what it was. Dad, do you remember my favorite Nintendo game of all time?
I can't remember.
Mom?
Legend of Zelda?
No.
Not Legend of Zelda.
No.
Was it a space game?
I'll give you a hint. Dad used to play it quite a bit, but only one part of it.
An airplane game?
Nope.
Not a space game?
Nope.
Not an airplane game?
Nope.
It's not like a Doom game.
You're going. It was a Nintendo game. You're going down. Vehicles are very important, but it wasn't in space, and it wasn't in an airplane. No. Okay, no, you're up. That's it. Okay.
I'm sorry. What is it?
So my favorite Nintendo game was a game called Uncharted Waters, which was you played as a sailor having to sell trade goods.
Oh, yeah.
And I would play, and I remember my first time understanding what profit margins were and trying to put together trade programs and keeping track of ports and stuff, knowing that the best route to what's the best way to, like, you know, take take certain goods over to like from Spain over to the New World, and then come back to Africa and get gold and take it to Japan and bring back silk. I used to all that stuff, Uncharted Waters.
I remember now.
The other game which is very similar theme, but also had a joystick and required a boot disc, was Privateer, which was for the computer. Wing Commander Privateer. It was the same. I got that the same year I think Doom came out, and it was a flight sim / business simulator. So.
What stonks?
Wow.
Remember those?
No.
No?
I don't
Dad
remember
does.
Privateer, but Dad does.
Yeah.
I never played the games, Jim.
What's a stonks?
You played the games. You played a whole lot of that one game.
Just what was it called?
You played Dagger of Amun-Ra.
That's all I played.
That was it.
Right, and because I had to fight with everybody for the computer. What did it matter? There's only one computer.
That's why I bought 4 Nintendo Switches.
Only one computer. Mom doesn't get to play the game. She just gets to cook the food to give to the people who are playing the game.
Well, to wrap up here, I want to thank both of you for being on, but also being awesome parents and you know, being so cool with letting me do all that stuff, because like all of the glory of this room, it would not have happened without you guys being supportive. I hear too many stories of unsupportive parents out there, or parents that weren't that involved. The fact you even sat down at a game table with us, even if it was later, was pretty cool.
That's very sweet.
So you're a gamer because they let me be a gamer.
Yay!
Anyway, so
Wait, I have a
moving
question
on.
First.
Yes, go ahead.
What's a stonks?
I don't know.
What?
Well, they keep saying stonks.
I don't know what that means.
Oh.
So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Kickstarter shoutouts. Goodman Games still has the DCC RPG Empire of the East going on. Road Crew shoutouts. DCC Day is Saturday, June 13th. And then we now have a Savage Saturday Night online event being coordinated by the SoCal Savages, Delaware Valley Savages, and now the Lone Star Savages for Saturday, June 27th. And this Thursday, I'm doing a review for Peril on the Purple Planet, Part 3. And you can find us where, Evie?
At I Live for Crits on Twitter, Living for Crits on Instagram, and then search Living for Crits on YouTube. Mic drop.
So with that, we're going to say goodnight. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay together. And for our outro ASMR, you can go first.
What? Why me?
Just do first.
I've never gone first.
We'll go first this time.
What?
Just do it anyway.
No one's gonna get what I'm saying.
No.
Well, if they're...
Just do it.
I'm me mom.
And I'm just going to say, since they came on, I love you, Mom and Dad.
Oh, that's very sweet.
We love you too.
We love
Good night.